My struggle with big books has led me to a revelation about reading slowly. Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to a video in which I'm going to talk about, again, something I've talked about on my channel before, and that is the joy of slow reading. Now, you might think, well, that's fine for you. Of course you enjoy slow reading, you enjoy reading, and you read slow, which is true. I am a slow reader. And so, almost every book that I read, I enjoy slow reading, but some more than others. And that's particularly true of big books. As I've gotten older, big books have, I felt like, imposed more and more on my reading time and my other time. And so I developed a method. It's not original. I'm sure other people have the exact same method. Or I have a method for approaching big books which works for me. And I first kind of explored that method when I was trying to read the first volume of Proust, which came out to around 900 pages. I was reading that for March the Mammoth 2 or 3 years ago, and I basically just divided the number of pages by the number of days of the month, and I read that number of pages every day, and that worked. I got through the entire 900 something pages in a month, and so clearly that was a system I found that worked for me in reading a big book. And occasionally I thought that kind of division into short kind of snippets or short pieces or smaller pieces actually helped me enjoy the book more than I would have if I'd felt compelled to read to the end, to read through the book more quickly. But it really didn't occur to me how much that could create more reading enjoyment until I had a big book that I wanted to read, and I knew I wanted to read, in which I applied the same method to. And that book this month is John Lewis: A Life, the new biography of one of my heroes and civil rights leader and Congressman John Lewis by David Greenberg. Ordered this book as soon as I figured out it existed. I ordered it. I was looking forward to reading it for November. And so when I got the book, the first thing I did is I looked to see how many pages were in the book. There are about 570 readable pages, not counting notes, all the way through the acknowledgement. And so I thought to myself, okay, well, this is one of those books I should probably break down and read in chunks rather than trying to read all the way through. I'll talk about more reasons why I might do that, even with the book that I'm looking forward to here in a minute. So it just so happens that I think there are 28 chapters of the book. There are 30 days in November, so I thought, well, I'll just read one chapter a day. And so that's what I've been doing it. So I started doing that to make sure that, I didn't get to a point in the book that I really wanted to read where I was tired of reading it. That by reading it one chapter at a time, I figured I couldn't get tired of reading it. And one of the great things about this book is that none of the chapters are really that long. I think the longest chapter has been around 28 pages. None of the chapters have been that long, so it's been something I could accomplish relatively easily. But in the process of reading the book this way, I figured out that this is really working for me, and this was actually increasing my enjoyment of the book. So I think there are a couple of things that are at work here. And again, these may not be all that huge epiphanies for the rest of you, but one of the things that makes it, I think, work better and is having me enjoy the book more is that I don't feel the weight of that big book hanging over my head. By reading just one chapter a day, and I've been reading it around 8 o'clock every morning, by reading that one chapter a day, all the rest of my time for reading is freed up. I don't feel like I should be reading the book more than I am. Get through my chapter, I enjoy the chapter, I put the book down, I can move on to something else. And that's been a really great thing. It's allowed me to, particularly here over the last few weeks, to increase my speed of reading from some other books and to really enjoy those additionally. In another way, I think that kind of reading has really helped me out is it gives me more time to ruminate on the book. I read my chapter, maybe it takes me, some slow reader, 30, 35, 40 minutes to read that chapter. I put the book down, and then I have time to reflect on how good a job I think the author is doing, on what I think about John Lewis. I've said he's one of my heroes, so I get to reflect on how great I think he was. I get to reflect on is the book, how close the book comes to hagiography. Is it just hero worship, or is it an actual strong biography of John Lewis that I want? And then in addition to that, since I've been reading it in small chunks and thinking about the book, I can actually then apply it to what I'm thinking about in regards to the current political situation in the United States in terms of organizing and protesting, and how that worked for John Lewis, and how Lewis got through an incredibly difficult period in American history. intact and brought about change and was a part of that change. That's all been, kind of really inspirational. Now, that might have all been true if I just read the book as fast as I could from beginning to end, but I think reading it in this way has kind of really helped me out in thinking about the book and applying kind of the message of the book and the things from Lewis's life to my life. Like I said, this has also created other benefits for me. Since I free up, what I consider to be my obligatory, even though enjoyable, read early in the morning, then I can move on to whatever else I want to read. Right now, I'm reading a biography of English King Henry V by Dan Jones, and I'm enjoying that. And in a weird way, I'm kind of drawing parallels between the two books. I finished a memoir, which I hardly ever read, and then I have a fiction book I want to get to here at the end of the month, and so it feels like, particularly as a polygamous reader, it's helping me with that process quite a bit. And that then has probably contributed more than anything else to my feeling of accomplishment. I had a bad reading month in October. It was a really stressful month for me because of the upcoming election, and I was hoping to have a really good reading month in November dedicated to nonfiction, and it has. It's allowed me to read more nonfiction books, to feel more sense of accomplishment, to enjoy my reading more in November, and those have all been great things. So if you've never done this before, even if it's a book you think you really want to read, you're really interested in reading, it's a longer book, and this isn't a really long book, but a longer book, maybe try this kind of method of breaking it down a chapter at a time or a certain number of pages at a time to see if it enhances your enjoyment of the book. Maybe it does the opposite, maybe it helps. Anyway, look forward to your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.